should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course, unpaused and repaused. Again, so we don't have to see our ugliness in triplicate. Only in duplicate, sadly. I've got my revolutionary hat on. Technically, it's a pirate hat, but it doubles as the kind of hat that would have been worn by a Revolutionary War soldier as well. So, we're about to fight the British, yes. Then, after today, we can go fight the Dutch off Batavia, don't you know? I see lots of clanking going on. Happy 4th of July, everyone, by the way. It's a day for eating hot dogs and so forth. It's also Razorfist's least favorite day because he'll be asked to leave if he orders his steak well done at the local barbecue. Meanwhile, I'll take mine medium well. I'm more of a hot dog kid, though. When I was a kid, I would always opt for the hot dogs at the 4th of July barbecue. Can't wait for some explosions to terrify the cats later. They fucking deserve it because, you know, they keep trying to kill me all the time. Happens all the time. Kina says, Sticks. Yes, indeed, that is me. Ali Lul, oh my god, Sticks, I love you so much. Excellent. I'm getting lots of love, I guess, today. Ren Optic. I have sparklers ready for tonight. Sparklers are pretty cool. I wish you could get the better fireworks, like the ones that you get in southern Texas, here in Vermont. But most of them are banned, or they require a license to actually get them and set them off. It's pretty stupid since Vermont is one of the most humid states in the Union, but I don't know. They love their, They absolutely love their regulations. Dixie Normus, call a British pub and chant USA. That would be funny. Ali Lul, what do you think about domestic violence? Should it be legal? No, it should not. But domestic violence cases should not be automatically triggered upon mere complaint because they cost tens of thousands of dollars to litigate. Last Beacon, hey Sticks, ping us! And also, happy 4th. Just a couple more weeks before my birthday, yay! Happy birthday to you in advance. Oh, by the way, I've got some cool shit here. I've been making these. Here's the little cardboard cutouts. Little black spots. 'Tis a summons of piracy. I'm gonna get a white Sharpie. Once they are fully dry, which, as you can see, they aren't quite yet. Thank you, JD, by the way, for the ink tray. I'm going to be making some of those and actually writing little messages and signing them for a handful of clankers that have distinguished themselves. It'll be funny. 'Tis a summons. Watch Treasure Island, the one with Charlton Heston and Christian Bale. Just fucking trust me if you like anything pirate-related. Pirates also had a form of democracy and fought alongside Andrew Jackson, you know, in the early stages of our country. You can go on the pirate tour if you're ever in New Orleans, which is mimetic and hilarious. And it's really, really good. The tour guide is dressed pretty much like me, so it's pretty cool. It was like an army of pirates marching through the streets. Last Beacon, I just wish we could fast forward it because I'm still in Facebook jail until the 8th. Yeah, well, your first problem is having used Facebook, actually. Spider Eternal, Yo Mama's so dumb she failed a blood test. Yo Mama's so dumb and so poor she put out the cigarette butt that was heating your house. I could do that all day. Please, let's not devolve into Yo Mama jokes. I had my fill when I was in elementary school. I remember that site very well. They had this one website, and they had like an enormous number of Yo Mama jokes, and then also a bunch of poop references. And one time my dad came in when I was in the library. This is when I was poor and young, so I was using the public computer. And he leans in over my shoulder and sees what I'm looking at, and he's like, just don't repeat any of this. Mr. Repurpose, happy Independence Day, y'all. The Daily Developer, I am on house arrest for the 4th of July. Ah, Well, then I'm glad I did a live stream so you'll have something to watch. If you're under house arrest, I mean, can you at least go out in the yard if you have one and grill some hot dogs? If not, you can make my hot dog sandwich. Just boil them, split them in half, put them on toast, and then add whatever you want. It's still pretty good, honestly. Last weekend, I just want me a whole mess of gift cards, especially from Grubhub. I'll try to get you something. Yeah, we could do that. Yar, the 4th of July be here. Yes, the United States, which destroyed a bunch of pirates, but they were all North African pirates, while actually issuing letters of marque at times to privateers in various times. Technically speaking, by the way, Congress can still issue those letters. So if you wanted to invest in the Styx Hexen fishing trawler, we can put armor plating on it and load a deck gun and then go and blow people up. And apparently, technically speaking, Congress could allow that to happen. That would be hysterical, actually. Toxic masculinity. We aren't allowed to blow off fingers in Vermont. Yeah, you're only allowed to burn them off with sparklers or something like that. I hate Vermont's fireworks laws. They make absolutely no sense. You go down to southern Texas, it's like a war zone. Like, I've thought about going down there, like, with the military fatigues and the helmet and shit, and just crawling around, yelling about, the Charlies or something like that. I've actually thought about doing this. It would be hysterical. While people are throwing, like, fucking firecrackers at each other. Last weekend, especially for GameStop, but mostly for Grubhub. Takoyaki. I've never, I don't know what takoyaki is. Aquafan, per your earlier video, I'm disappointed you refer to cheeseburgers and hot dogs as barbecue. I love grilled food, but it's not barbecue. Barbecue is low and slow cooked food, like smoked pulled pork or brisket. I understand, but I mean at a barbecue. That's what I meant. Spider Eternal, the jokes are all in good fun, man. Happy 4th, my dude. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Happy 4th to you as well. Takoyaki. Grilled octopus? I don't know. What happens if somebody comes to the barbecue and orders their steak well done? We ask them firmly and politely to leave. Yeah, I was the hot dog eater for the most part. When I was a kid, I would just have ketchup on it. Then I added mustard and found that it was good. Then I had discovered the deliciousness of sweet relish. Then I discovered that if you added chili on it, along with goat cheese, it was the best of all. That's my favorite hot dog. And you gotta butter and roast the bun. You can't just have a regular ass hot dog bun. Man, I wish I had a hot dog like that right now. Oh wait, I'm having Franks and beans tonight for dinner. Interesting. This is, by the way, a Bant stream, as you may have noticed. It's the 4th of July. I realize fewer people are probably going to tune in, number one, and because they're busy grilling and shit. And number two, and I didn't even really have the energy to go through the news cycle. I'm going to take a hike and then later on watch the fucking fireworks. Yeah, the perfect hot dog. Nice crispy buttered bun. Only a little bit browned, nice and buttery. The hot dog should be, of all meat composition, not one of those, tofurkey dogs or some shit like that. And it should have ketchup, chili, minced onions, goat cheese, and mustard optional, or relish, whichever one you happen to like. Last beacon, honestly, I believe our founding was the beginning of the end of the British Empire and the beginning of the end of Europe as a whole. True. Cooking Inferno. Did the traditional holiday fare at a friend's last night. Tonight I'm grilling Indonesian satay with peanut dipping sauce. That sounds delicious right now. My favorite grilled chicken dish. I made a stir fry the other day. And my dad was a chef for over 30 years. And he said that it was better than the one that we got at the local, actually Chinese-owned restaurant, actually. And theirs was really, really good, by the way. So I guess I did a good job. Spider Eternal. We ask them to convert first, and if they refuse, then we ask them to leave. Yes, if somebody asks for a well-done steak at your, 4th of July barbecue, you say, would you like to retract that statement? Maybe you should choose another option. Then you can kick him out. And give him a chance. We'll be lenient. Aquafan, also a little odd to refer to the holiday as 4th of July. I don't celebrate 25th of December, I celebrate Christmas. Likewise, I don't celebrate 4th of July, I celebrate Independence Day. Point taken, but it is also, in addition, the 4th of July. Colloquial usage. Orchid Finance, all meat must have ketchup, no substitutes. Most meats, yeah, they require ketchup, along with most forms of cooked eggs, other than deviled eggs and things like that, of course. Other things can have ketchup on them. Hell, you can dip pizza in ketchup. Don't knock it until you try it. Just try it, just a mouthful. Aquafan, I just sent 2 antagonistic rants in a row. I don't mean to be a negative Nancy. Don't worry, you're a frequent commenter. No harm, no foul. I do truly love your content and appreciate what you do. Semantics aside, happy Independence Day. Happy Independence Day to you too as well, Aquafan. Last beacon, Europe's last true end was in World War I. World War II was the pissing on Europe's corpse. Yeah, I mean, the Brothers' War was completely moronic when you think about it. Hey, we could work together. We're capable of tackling other problems in the world or simply minding our own business. No, let's shoot each other. That was World War I in a nutshell. Ben Bacon. America is good, but we still have a long way to go. We will never achieve peak social progress until we can make love with barnyard animals in public. Okay. Jesus. I mean, in some states, it'll probably become legal sooner rather than later, knowing the way that things are going. Untold Misery. Styx Hexenhammer. What do Americans celebrate for? Being a tax base? Doing as you're told? Being a good citizen? No, we celebrate the fact that our country was able to rip itself away from something even more tyrannical. If you look at the UK today versus the US, I think we made the right decision. Uncle Sham. I think you can in Danby. Yeah, there's an old joke around here, as you assumptively know, Vermont, where the men are men and sheep are scared. This is applied loosely as well to Danby. I knew a kid from Danby once. He was actually really cool. His name was Tory. I won't use his surname for obvious reasons, because, whatever. In a farming family, and they had a farm actually not far from here as well. But lived down further south in Danby. And he was a cool kid. There was one time that he stormed out of the TA, actually, because the teacher pissed him off, and he's like, I'm done with this. Fuck it. And he never came back to that TA. I admired that kid. He was pretty cool. Last speaking, I'm sorry, I meant to say corpse rather than is corpse fucking Samsung voice to text. Happens all the time. That's why I don't use voice to text. Ruron, Sticks, do you think Massey, Rand Paul, Fitzpatrick, whom voted against Big Beautiful Bill, will be primaried? Yes, I believe they will. Is it good? Maybe. Is it something that's likely to happen? Probably. Last speaking, Takoyaki is diced up deep-fried squid balls. Hey, that sounds delicious, actually. Snakes bleed red. Yes, especially given the news that we got the other day, actually. No worries. Everything is taken care of, all in its due time. Sometimes magic takes a while. Yeah, Israel is kind of gone off the deep end, I suppose, at this point with the Eurovision thing. One tall order. What the fuck is a kilometer? Ah. Isn't a kilometer... Is a mile 2.2 kilometers, or is it a kilometer 2.2 miles? I can't remember. I think the kilometer is the shorter one, if I remember correctly. I mean, they don't teach metric in the United States, so I'm not 100% sure. I think it's 2.2 kilometers roughly to a mile, if I remember correctly. Okay, sea sour, yes, the kilometer is the lower one. I think it was 2.2. Amanda, what are your favorite European countries? Well, I lived in the Netherlands for half a decade, so that would be my favorite. I did fall in love with the country. The countryside is beautiful, the climate is nice, the people are friendly, and so forth. Once you go over into Germany, all of a sudden it's like day and night. All of a sudden everything's like painted black and brown and really brulismus, as they would say over there, and stuff like that. The people are very unfriendly. No offense to any German clankers, but relatively cold compared to what you get in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, it really reminded me of a more temperate version of Vermont, honestly. It was very much like New England culture. Germany reminded me of Germany. We'll put it that way. Spider Eternal, are you disappointed with Rand? Usually he's level-headed, but he can't see the forest through the trees with a big beautiful bill. I disagree with his decision, but overall, as a general rule, I still approve of him. I realize, he's got some, ideological principles that are maybe not quite pragmatic. But at least he has principles, so I've got to give him credit for that. Ruron, genuine question about Massey in particular. What did he have to gain by opposing President Trump? Allegedly, he has blocked some America First accounts on X as well. I don't know what his game is at this point. I don't know what he stands to gain at all. Aquafan, life update. I've officially moved from Florida to Kentucky. Good. I start work on my PhD in Southern Ohio in late August. This first winter will be a big change for me, living in Florida my whole life. Send prayers and energy. I think you'll like it if you're in the Kentucky area and in Ohio. One tall order. I drank a regular Monster Energy this morning instead of a white Monster Energy Ultra because I'm already a white monster, if you know what I'm saying. I got that beer can dick. Let's get to our sponsors before we continue. I'll just shout them out. This is just a bant stream, so we're just basically talking about random shit. We have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get delicious mushroom pills that invigorate you. I took mine this morning, although I don't have a bottle on the desk here. I've been trying to clear it out because I got bass pulse speakers, so sue me. Not literally. You can also get doggo snacks from them. And they smell pretty good, actually. Like, some dog snacks smell like foul. These ones actually smell like, you might eat them in an emergency situation, I suppose. And doggos do like them. Anecdotal experience. My study involved one doggo, and the doggo ate the whole bag of them very quickly. Secondly, BiltongUSA.com. Anton can hook you up with all sorts of meat as you're celebrating the 4th of July. Keep in mind, Anton can hook you up with all sorts of crazy shit. You've got Wagyu, you've got Angus, you've got bison, you've got venison, pretty much everything you can imagine. If it can be slaughtered and eaten, he's got it. Also, Stick, Sex, and Hammer cups, tumblers, and shirts available, as well as all these delicious spreads. I don't have the boat right here because I used it in the stir fry. And it came out delicious, by the way. Thank you, Anton, very much. And finally, jamandbean.com. That is Jamn bean.com. Oh, I love that. I love to do this every single day. Yeah, you can just smell it faintly through. We've got Clanker Blend coffee. Yes, I have my own coffee blend. And it is delicious, and you should drink it. There are other coffee blends available, as well as a multitude of teas, which I have over to the side, so I'm not going to bother reaching down to grab them. Use code STICKS, by the way, on all 3 of these sites upon checkout. Snakes bleed red. This is feminists' most hated day. Yeah, the fact that the United States exists and actually decided to liberate people instead of making them subservient pisses some people off. Communists hate this day as well. It is indeed Independence Day. Unfortunately, you can't really put fireworks on display here in Vermont. You can use those little smoke balls, and you can use sparklers, which are also a fire hazard, so I don't know exactly why the slightly larger ones aren't allowed. You can't even, I think, have a Roman candle without a license in this state. It's retarded. Victor Elstad, speaking of sex with animals, did you know Zank Uger of the Young Turds said bestiality should be legal if you're pleasuring the animal? Yeah, I'm aware of his horse fetish, apparently. Ruron, not naming names out of respect for you, Sticks. Some so-called America First individuals have proven to be the exact opposite. Thank you for being consistent, Sticks. Integrity isn't always that common, thankfully. I know who you're referring to. Yeah. I know who you're referring to. I won't name names either. There's also some glowies in there, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, when I was a kid, I always thought it was normal for it to simply be a fireworks display. So, you know, you'd go to the field, and experts would set up the fireworks, and they'd fire them off and shit. Only more recently, you know, when I was already an adult, and went down to Texas, then to Florida, and then to the Netherlands, by God, they know their fireworks. Only then did I realize, no, Vermont really is just cucked with regards to firework usage. It makes no sense. Southern Texas, it's a war zone. It's a bunch of kids throwing firecrackers at each other and shit. You go to Tampa, you have huge displays, home displays, and stuff like that. Go to the Netherlands sometime for New Year's Eve, right? And go to Diemen or someplace like that. Probably not Centrum. I'm assuming there's probably some ordinances within the ring, as they call it. So Zoud and Oost and so forth. Probably not as much there. But if you go just outside of Amsterdam, every single block is firing off fireworks for 24 goddamn hours, like it's a friggin' war. Every single block! I wish I had recorded it. The cats didn't apparently care. They're probably used to it by now. The Dutch love fireworks more than the United States does. And I couldn't even believe it when I was seeing it, like they were outdoing Texas. It was crazy. And people are throwing them around in the streets and crazy shit like that. And, holy Jesus. I intend to see it again sometime soon. One tall order. Fireworks aren't legal here in Maryland either, but the cops don't care unless you light your neighbor's house on fire, as it should be in the so-called land of the free. One time, a neighbor's firework did nearly hit our house, admittedly. That being said, it's like, okay, well, what's going to happen? Unless there's a drought warning or something like that, you should be able to set them off. Imperator of Forge. Man from Vermont celebrates 4th of July and gives no mention to Roger Morgan or the Green Mountaineers or Vermont Republic. Yes, Vermont was its own republic for a while. And you do have the Green Mountaineers. By the way, it was us Vermonters that protected Lake Champlain from allowing the British to actually run a group of ships down in order to outflank the revolutionary forces. That was us. We're the ones that did it. Look up Ethan Allen. Built, I believe, 3 ships, actually, by hand, and managed to repulse the British and prevent them from invading. Also, good partisan soldiers. Vermonters made great soldiers as well in the Civil War. They were in high demand because most Vermonters knew how to shoot straight. Somebody from New York City might not have known exactly how to shoot a musket. They probably didn't own one. If they did, they didn't really have any place to practice. Vermonters were shooting them constantly because they had to get that fucking meat. And so Vermonters, what was it? My grandpa, if he was still here, he would sit here and that would be the live stream probably by prompting him on that. I think it was the 13th Vermont Regiment or something like that. All of these groups were renowned for their sharpshooting skills. They were lost on regular combat. They were the sharpshooters mainly because they were extremely good shots, because they had training. They had already trained themselves against animals that move more quickly than humans in many cases for years and years and years. And so a lot of them joined up and got drafted by the Union Army. Cooking Inferno, for your information, fireworks are legal in New Hampshire and the town displays are quite good. You should come over. I wish. I don't really have time for that at the moment. Oh, by the way, I do have an announcement. A very happy announcement. This has nothing to do with the 4th of July. Nutty Norman is complete. I had completed it, but then I realized something very, very strange. Amazon's templates, if you try to generate them, they don't generally work. At the very least, you're going to have to do a bunch of conversion and fucking shit like that. But if you've already released a bunch of works and you have them backed up, you've already got the templates. So generally, I just reuse the templates, right? And they go in gradients of 5. So, 50-page template, 55-page template, and so forth. The only template that I do not have available is the 55-page template. So I had to extend it by 1 section in order to push it over 55 so that I can use the 60-page template, which I do have. It's very fun. Very, very fun. Although I do have to say the last section is definitely the most brutal and insane. I was a little bit pissed off at Amazon, so I channeled that anger, and I think that I made a thing of wonder. We're on Sticks. Do you think Razor and you will do a live stream and or video together? Would be very interesting conversation. I've had him on my election coverage now several times, actually. And I've talked to him before. He's a cool dude. He just doesn't know how to cook a steak. Haha. Mean Gene. Libertarians will hand Dems wins on principle? Some of them seem to like to do that. And of course, the neighbor would be mowing right at this time. Wonderful. What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Get your hand off my penis. Yeah, CJ. Hail Santana. Dixon, whose magic is better, King Cobra or yours? Depends on what you perceive of as better, I suppose. I don't know if he was hailing Satan or Santana. I mean, Satan, cool story. Santana is like cool music. Yeah, I don't know. El Hazel Raw. Motherfucker's always mowing the lawn, I swear. Yeah, I'm right on the edge of society. So it's like people have manicured lawns and shit like that. But at the same time, we're right on the edge of wilderness. But it seems like on every reasonably nice day, every single person races to mow their lawn. And I'm like, yeah, I want the lawn to go partially fallow at this point, so that the wild animals have some place to frolic around. We've got all sorts of flowers all over the place. Morgana still literally cannot hear the lawnmower. Yeah, but I can. That's the problem. It's distracting. I'm not particularly concerned with keeping the lawn manicured because it's like it's a lawn, you know? Put some animals on it, let them eat the grass down or some shit like that. I'd rather turn it into a pasture. Have a little tiny barn with a couple of those miniaturized cows in it or something like that. That would be funny. Or a bunch of goats. I want a pet goat. I will invite it in for live streams. It might shit all over me or something like that, but having a pet goat would be pretty cool. Not gonna lie. I believe in biodiversity. That's real environmentalism, as opposed to the fake environmentalism like, oh, I put solar cells on my roof. Great if the power goes out on the grid. Wonderful. And in 20 years, it'll have generated enough power to have been worth the power that was put into it. Other than that, useless, actually. Has a use, but otherwise useless, so to speak. Buying a goat, meanwhile, is always useful. You know, you can feed it scraps and shit. Alright. I'm sorry, but this lawnmower is distracting me, so I'll be right back. Give me a couple minutes here. I'm going to close the window and probably take a piss. Alright, we should be back here. Let me make sure that things are actually still working. Maroney Magic by Willard Mitt Romney. If you've never seen that meme, you should probably look it up. It's a weird 4chan post where Mitt Romney came into someone's house and started throwing ice cubes around and then had to get dragged out and stuff. I happen to find that to be exceptionally amusing. Happy 4th of July! I like those snap pops. Stole them from my niece. And by stealing, I mean I just took the box because it was left here. Don't worry, I'll get her another one. That has to be bent down because otherwise the cat might try to sleep on the computer. This has happened before, by the way. You should see some of the weird shit the cat has typed out, actually. CP Simple, you ever do improv with Yes, Rand? No. I'd like to cover Heil Hitler by Kanye, though. Ruron, can you please encourage anyone that lives in Arizona to please sign conservative Kimberly Yee's state superintendent petition? Hopefully we can get education back to the states. Yes, very well. I have encouraged it actively. Yeah, I really want to cover Kanye's Heil Hitler song. Although they also released a Christianized version called Hallelujah, apparently, which is something that I would not personally cover. For obvious reasons, it's a good song. It's got a good beat and everything else. He's making a point. He's saying basically, screw society. You know, you fucked me over. Now I'm fucking you. And I think that that's great. Ha ha ha. Snap pops are great. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. A whole handful of them. Ha ha. Keep in mind, if you went back several thousand years and did that, they would think that you were some sort of weird magician. Tom Baldwin, M80s are better. Definitely more impressive, but you can't get them here. Nunya, thoughts on Michael Jackson? Innocent. I don't believe in a million years that he was guilty of doing anything with a kid. I think that he was completely straight, only interested in females, number one, particularly well-endowed adult women, it seems, and that he never did anything wrong. I think that they railroaded him. By the way, speaking of Razor Fist and Michael Jackson, he did 3 different parts, actually, on his expose on Michael Jackson, and showed the litany of problems with the prosecution is so vast that the case never really should have went forward in the first place. And in a couple of cases, the case didn't go forward. There's a reason for that. As he pointed out, in one instance, they didn't even have enough evidence to indict him. She wanna fuck in Japan, I put the chrome on the Benz. Yeah, snappies. Snibbity snabs. I don't know. I just have fun doing this. What should I throw him against now? Yeah, I don't know, I just find that fun. And it can't damage anything or anything like that. Yeah, we call them snappies or snappers. I think the real name is Snap-Its. I think that's the brand name. Not 100% sure. Or Pop-Its. It depends on the brand. Throw one at the camera. I can throw it at the screen. It won't damage it, so there's no problem. Yeah, the little tiny bits of rock get in there. By the way, you can also do this. This is something as a kid that I was afraid to do, but I was challenged to do it by a friend. And at first I was scared, but then I'm like, hey, if I'm making a buck, it doesn't hurt at all. I mean, it's just a tiny amount of black powder, basically, with some rocks in it, in a paper ball of sorts. I'm just having fun. It's the 4th of July. What's the 4th of July without a few minor explosions and stuff like that? I always had fun. Once I realized that it didn't hurt, I kept doing it over and over again. One time, funny story, I got some of the snappers at the local pharmacy, which in Woodstock, because it's a small village, also was basically also the toy store and had novelty items and shit like that. And I got some of the snappers there, and I was, throwing them at the sidewalk out in front of the pharmacy. And the old lady who ran the pharmacy asked me not to do it very politely. She was a nice old lady. They've sold the pharmacy now. I'm surprised that the daughter didn't take over. She was about my age, actually, or a year older, maybe. I'm surprised they didn't continue it because it's the only pharmacy in town. Hey, good luck. Now you have to go over the mountain in order to get your pharmaceuticals. But anyway, it was really, really funny. So then I went in the back alley, and I used to throw them at raccoons that were infesting the local dumpster, too. Because we lived right above the mountain creamery, which is where my dad worked. So he didn't have a long commute to work, which was very much in our favor. Didn't have to drive to work, that's for sure. He could literally go down 2 stairwells. And I used to throw the snappers actually out the window at the raccoons and scare them and drive them off. And I thought that was hysterical. Ruron, Sticks, would you be okay with sharing Kimberly Yee's website that has the page to sign her petition online? KimberlyYee.com. Thank you, Sticks. Yes, indeed. I've shouted it out. I don't know if I can I actually, No, I don't have the option to actually display it on the live chat like I do on YouTube. Nicosia Connection. Burn your concealed carry permit, not your cheeseburger, as our founding fathers intended. Richard Vernadow. Sticks, do you get a lot of opossums in your garden there in Vermont? I have only seen a dead possum, actually, here. I did see one possum when I was in New York City, I believe it was. Or was it New Orleans? I have seen a possum, but not here. I think. Snappity snap. Snippity snap. Snippity snap. Snippity snap. Oh, that one didn't go out very well. Sometimes they're duds. Sometimes they're a little bit underfilled, and so when you wing them at an object, they just bounce off and they never snap. Also, they're fun to use as landmines. If somebody walks into a room and you've laid them out in the right position, they'll step on them and it'll cause them to do snippity snap. Don't do this to anyone with a heart condition, please. And you didn't get that advice from me when you're trolling your parents or something. I would like to, I'd like to try possum meat, actually. That sounds fun. Cygnus, have you ever seen an albino skunk? No, but I've trapped a bunch of skunks trying to invade my garden before. They had this tunnel that they were using. And there was this one fateful day that actually eventually led to the banning of my original YouTube channel, believe it or not. This is 2007, actually, so yeah, this is almost barely pre-YouTube. Because I was taking pictures of their rotting bodies and putting them on grindcore albums, actually. A skunk was invading the garden and digging through things. And I figured out where they were coming in. There was a little hole they had dug under the fence. And so I chained a trap to it. And a skunk wandered in. I had several traps, actually. A skunk wandered in, and it got trapped. Another skunk came in and started trying to eat the second skunk, and got trapped. A third skunk wandered in and tried to eat the other two skunks, and got killed as well. So now I'm sitting here like I've got these three, bloated skunks on the edge of the garden. And I figured, well, I'm just going to toss them in the woods. That was not a good idea. The smell lasted for an extended period of time once their sacks, burst because of bloating and being eaten by maggots and shit. The whole woods for like a half a mile around smelled like skunk, actually. For a very, very late, it was like a month later it still smelled. It's insane. But I took pictures of the dead, crepitating bodies when they were rotting down, like being chewed away into nothing more than bones. And I was putting them as the image on grindcore videos, like intestinal disgorge and stuff like that, carcass. That was back when you could do that on YouTube, by the way. Ruron, skunk inception? Yeah. Trust me, it was a fun time. Rebecca Caraway, I put mayonnaise on my hot dogs. Well, while I like the surname Caraway, I do not like mayonnaise on my hot dogs. Angela Sky, Clank from Hawaii. I love how slow the news cycle has been. Just goes to show the real adults are back in charge. Also, rest in peace, Michael Madsen. I don't know who that is. Ramon C. GTC, happy 4th of July. Sticks, are you going to barbecue? We're having franks and beans tonight. Black Sheep IFI, you look and sound absurd. Good. With enemies like you, I don't even need friends. Angela Sky, America, fuck yeah. Happy 4th of July. It's the 4th of July. I wish that I still had that one video. There was this one uploader, his channel is still active. He's called Spud Croyley. But he had this one video where he was running around in, I believe it was GTA 4, firing rockets. It was modded, I think. Firing fireworks and shit at like police vehicles and stuff and rambling about the 4th of July. And this was probably 7 or 8 years ago. But it's not there anymore. Thankfully, I did manage to download Just a Goofy Man. I'll probably re-upload it because, I mean, he hasn't been active in almost a decade, so it doesn't really matter now, does it? Well, that was a total dud. Pop. I enjoy doing that. It's fun. It's called having fun. Some people are weird about the fact that I like to have fun on live streams and videos and stuff like that and say zany shit. Did you ever see my videos from 10, 15 years ago? Probably not. Damned. Possum like bear is very stringy meat. I've had bear, Japanese style. I don't know whether the bears are different in Japan or what, but I didn't find it stringy. I just found it a little bit fatty. Not in a bad way. I mean, very tasty, but it was more like a little bit of fattiness as opposed to stringy. We're on. Sticks, I know this is early. Whom would be your pick for 2028 President and VP? J.D. Vance has impressed me, as has Tulsi Gabbard and Kristi Noem. Vance and Tulsi at the moment. But we have to wait and see because we don't know exactly what's going to happen with the administration, with the things that they say and so forth. We don't know yet. I mean, we're not even 1 year in, so we'll have to wait and see for several more years. And Asti, Unsure about gymnastics. Men dominate at tennis. The Williams sisters lost 6-1 in exhibition matches against men ranked in the top 200s. Yeah. Women tend to be more flexible, which is good, by the way, if you're straight and male. They tend to be more flexible, and they tend to be more agile. So there are sports in which definitely they can outcompete men. It's just that men tend to be more physically strong. They tend to be faster, and so forth. So generally speaking, I don't think that men and women should compete in the same sports leagues. I agree with the Penn State decision, for example. If you want to have a unisex league on the side, perfectly fine. Cooking Inferno. Stolas is illustrated as an owl in Dictionnaire Infernal. But in the Goetia, Stolas is said, well, that's, I don't know if I'm still actually live. Let me see this. Hold up, everyone. I might be, I don't know if you can still even hear me. But we're going to, see if we can, I am still live? Okay, good. Something just came up on Streamyard. And, yeah, just give me a second. Oh, okay. Oh, that's only for people that touch up their appearance and shit like that. Okay, then that doesn't affect me. Never mind. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. But in the Goetia, Stolas is said to be a raven. What made you prefer one image over the other? The authenticity of it. Owls, definitely one of my spirit animals. Angela Sky. Michael Madsen was Mr. Blonde in Reservoir Dogs. He tortures a cop to the song Stuck in the Middle with You. Disturbing scene, but great actor. Sounds funny. Yeah, apparently there was a notification, a live notification. Thank you, StreamYard, by the way. Talking about how if you touched up your appearance that you might have some problems, but I don't do that, so. Ruron, Sticks, generally speaking, what are your thoughts on cast iron for cooking? Is this worth the effort with cooking? Yes. Depending on what you're cooking, of course. Great for a nice beef stew with dumplings. Nice, cool autumn day. You get the cast iron out, all ready to go. You make a nice beef stew, really, really, really slow cooked, and so that the meat is basically falling apart. And you ladle the drop dumplings on top and get those ready. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It'll be one of those days that you'll remember forever simply because the meal is so fucking good. Also, I've got another bit of advice. If you cook off a flat iron steak, you can chop it into bits like you would generally stew meat because it's so, I don't know, vertical or whatever. I don't know how you exactly describe it. Stringy, you could say. And you very, very slowly cook it. It will fall apart into the broth. If you do this and then add other chunks of meat, so from like literally the cheapest stew meat you can get, and you flour them, you can add herbs or whatever you want to do, and then just roast them off a little bit and then pile them in the stew. You'll end up with a stew that is absolutely perfect because you're going to end up with chunks of meat along with the veggies and everything else, but you're also going to end up with these little tiny strands of meat that thicken the stew as well. And I did this once, and it was perfect. And I put dumplings on top, so that makes it even more perfect. By the way, when you add your dumplings, do not open it up to check them. Just trust the timing. As long as you've measured them out appropriately, they will cook perfectly properly. You don't want them to lose too much moisture, otherwise you're going to end up with dry dumplings. Not a good idea. Texter Spunky, Sticks is my first pick for a cookout. That's a good idea. Trust me, I can cook stew, dozens of soups. I can cook a good stir fry. Actually, I inherited the cooking gene. Didn't know this until only a few years ago, actually. I've only been really cooking for the last half decade or so. Before that, I could make a grilled cheese sandwich, I guess. Now I can make all sorts of crazy shit. If you can make anything that's made on tasting history and it tastes good, probably you're reasonably good at cooking. Let's put it that way. I've done that on a number of occasions. John Smith, don't accept them saying that BBB increases the deficit. The TCJA cuts for the poor and middle class would have been passed regardless of party in charge. Considering that, then the deficit increases. True. Absolutely. But keep in mind, the deficit is going to continue to increase. And there's not really anything that we can do about it. Had to address that this morning. I had a couple of people that were angry about this. They sent me messages saying, well, you know, it's not inevitable that the deficit will increase. Okay, there are ways we could reduce it. Of course, we could slash government spending massively. I would be definitely in support of that, by the way. But is it pragmatic to actually attempt to do so? I don't know that we can afuera our way out of this at this point, because the deficit is simply so massive. I don't know that we can afuera. I don't know. We can try. It's just, I mean, you got to get legislation passed first. So, yeah. We're on. What brands are your preference? Lodge makes some of their cast iron in Tennessee. I don't know what brand the cast iron we've got. We've got like 3 or 4 cast iron pots actually, but they're very old. They're not. They're definitely not recently made. One of them, hell, I think is 100 years old actually. Angela Sky. Michael Madsen was also in Kill Bill. He played Bill's brother Bud, who was a deadly assassin that becomes a washed-up bouncer. Great Tarantino flicks. I've never seen that. I've never seen either of those movies. Apparently they're very highly rated. Studio instability issues. Why are you sending me the same notification as before? What's the goddamn point? I have no clue. Streamyard is apparently having issues today. Probably because of the 4th of July or some shit. Yeah, I've heard good things about Kill Bill, but I've never actually seen it and know nothing about it. Richard Vernadow. Stix, will you one day appear clean-shaven here and alive? I've been clean-shaven before. If I do that, I would have to goth it up a little bit, dye my hair black, and use some talcum powder on my face, I suppose. Rabbit, has Stix licked his finger yet? No. I used the Bovrite, actually. I'll have to substitute, I suppose. I used the Bovrite the other night, actually, in making the base for the stir-fry that I made, which my chef father apparently loved, which everyone else apparently thinks is fucking great. I thought it came out well. Thought could have used... I left something out, and I'm not 100% sure what it was. But I balanced the cardamom just perfectly, I like to say. And the saltiness level was basically perfect. I like Vegemite. It's not as good as Bovrite. Yeah, there's Anton right there. 92 cat. I'm late again. Just do blackface, man. Yeah, maybe I'll sing Mammy. I'll just, Salty, haha, Bovrite is best. Yeah, Bovrite is better than Vegemite and Marmite. By far. It also makes an excellent base, apparently, for the broth that you use to, you know, reduce down the vegetables for a stir fry. You mix in some flour, you thicken it a bit, and as it cooks down, it gets thicker. This is sort of how you do it. At least that's the way I've done it. JW's Garage. Give two shits about a fucking celebrity. Ah, thank you, King of Biltong. He's gonna send me more bullfright. I do still have a container, but I used quite a bit of it actually in the stir fry. But everyone loved it, and it works better than the average bouillon. Like generally, I've used those dried like little cubes of bouillon, and you just sort of grind it up, put it in hot water, and stir it in. Then you slowly add the sifted flour and so forth, and then you put it in the pan when you're ready to do so. It's really, really easy to make stir fry. I'm considering making a cooking video on the subject because it's something that's nutritious, it's tasty, everyone fucking seems to love it. You make it vegetarian or with meat, it doesn't really make a difference. Just put egg in it as well. But yeah, Anton's Bovrite, definitely. Yeah, it's better than the dried bouillons that you're probably used to using if you've cooked anything like that before. Get some Bovrite from Anton, BiltongUSA.com. Highly recommended. And fucking delicious. Yum. Cooking Inferno. Have you watched the film Hereditary? If not, do so. Very atmospheric occult thriller. So much symbolism you have to pay close attention. Sounds good. Yeah. Sounds like it would be down my alley. Big L. The city I live near canceled the fireworks show and are opting for a drone show. The city council should be tried for treason for such blasphemy. See, I would do both. Put the drones up in the air and then give people in the crowd, like, little launchers and let them try to bullseye the drones out of the sky. That would be funny. Sticks, do you like David Lynch movies such as Mulholland Drive? Yes, I do, indeed. Have you ever seen Melancholia, by the way? Mike the Wop, clank motherfuckers. Hope it's all good, Tarl. It is indeed. Just had some Vegemite, courtesy of Anton. Gonna have franks and beans later, in lieu of a full barbecue. Made my black spots. I've got several of them. I'm gonna use a white Sharpie and address these to a handful of very special individuals, one of which will be Anton. As a little bit of a token, You get a genuine black spot from a pirate. What can I say? I gotta get back to me schooner pretty soon. Benjamin the Dream Wizard, happy 4th of July! Is $10 enough to have you play at least some of my AI radio tribute to American freedom? And it's on Rumble. I can't play it probably on a live stream, but I will definitely listen to it. Yeah, you gotta be careful with regards, even if it's on Rumble, because keep in mind I'm also on YouTube at the moment. I gotta be careful with copyright. If you literally sampled anything, I can get banned on YouTube for that. If you say the wrong thing, I can get banned for that. And so on forth. I'll take a listen to it later, though. Thank you. Fully original song? Yeah, I'm just wondering... Here. I'll take a listen to it right now. Well, actually, because then people wouldn't hear it. Obviously. Derp, I'm retarded. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't really do that. I generally don't use any form of third-party content on my live streams unless it's like election maps and stuff like that. My apologies. Ruron, Sticks, cleaning preparation tip. Barkeeper's friend works wonders. Not a paid promotion or meant as an advertisement. This really works cleaning up lime scale. Yeah, what I'm going to do, actually, I've been attempting to clean my desk off because I've got bass pulse speakers that are coming. The wired ones. The good ones. The ones that will vibrate the fucking house when you put it at 100. And then put on a subwoofer test. Trust me, you need bass pulse speakers in your life. They're not that expensive either. This is not a high grade audio setup, but they work fucking wonders. Their bass, name bass pulse for a reason, is really, really strong. So I'm going to be setting that up behind the computer, but I need a little bit more room, so I need to get things out of the way, generally speaking. I'm thinking about getting like a storage shed or something like that, like a storage container, like a rental one, something along those lines, just to take some of the things that, you know, I want, but I never really use, and, you know, put them elsewhere so that I can streamline my existence. Yeah, there's a subwoofer test on YouTube, actually, and it's in high quality. And I ran it through the bass pulse once. This was back in 2015 or some shit like this. And it literally vibrated the floor. The cats went scattering around everywhere. It was fucking hilarious. I can't wait to do it again. Richard Vernadow, how many songs approximately have you written and performed now? Between the parodies and the stuff I did with Gifts Ungiven and Romeo and Kitano, I would say probably 30-ish, somewhere around there. Some of them are just parody songs. You know, it's basically like you take the instrumental music, you sing along to it with different lyrics and stuff like that. Some of them are more professionally made. I'd say probably 30-ish, maybe 35, I suppose. Something like that. Can you believe it? And I have a hole in the wall. Is that for your cock? Ruron, Sticks, Mitt Romney claimed he let the dogs out in 2007, and this is peak cringe. To this day, I don't think the Republican leadership wanted Romney to win, as he really wasn't much better or different. Yeah, I mean, who gave a shit about that election? Obama v. Romney. What a great choice. The dude who's failed or the dude who will fail? That's basically the choice that we had. That's why I voted for Ron Paul. Actually, Dexter Spunky, and the answer is smoke crack. Only the best crack. You gotta get it from Sleazy P. Martini, if you know what I'm talking about. This dude's got you covered. If you get crack from Hunter, it's gonna be with grated Parmesan cheese. You get it from Sleazy, you get the real deal. You know what I'm saying? He can get you the real crack. He's guarding my jar of dirt for a reason, because he's got associates, you know, because of his crack dealing. Yeah, you get crack from Hunter Biden, and apparently part of it is Parmesan cheese. I have no idea exactly where this originated from, actually. I know that it was mentioned explicitly. I just don't know how you could get so high that you started smoking Parmesan cheese. I don't know. I've never been that high in my life, let's put it that way. But yeah, I can't wait until I plug the bass pulse in. I am going to blast Ozzy Osbourne and Lemmy and all of that good shit on it. And it's going to be absolutely great. But first, I'm going to run that subwoofer test and vibrate the whole house over and over again. And then I'm going to laugh while people are inconvenienced by me doing so. I can't wait. And it should be here in a matter of a few days. Spider Eternal, hey, I'll have you know I cut my crack with the finest of cheeses. Yeah, exactly. Parmesan, basic bitch. Why not use dried Munster or something like that? Port Salut. Yeah, Let's see. How should I break the virginity of my bass pulse speakers after doing the subwoofer test? What should the first song be? I think Little Dark Age by MGMT, simply because it's now my favorite song. Believe it or not, I found a song that was better than Love My Way by the Psychedelic Furs. That's now my second favorite song, although I will always have huge nostalgia for it. Actually, Little Dark Age by MGMT is now my new favorite song. Or I could do Kanye's Heil Hitler. That would be funny. Let's break in these speakers, boys. You know? She wanna fucking Japan. I put the chrome on the Benz. No, Desert Sky, I'm not a big fan of Megadeth. If I'm gonna do one of the big four, I'm gonna do Slayer. Okay? I know this is something that runs deep within the hard rock / metal community. If I'm gonna choose one of the big four, I'm on a desert island, and I'm only allowed to listen to one of the big four for the rest of my life. It's gonna be Slayer. Just saying. Angela Sky, why do humans suffer from ghost limb, but animals seem mostly unaffected by this? Just curious if you know. Well, it's hard to tell if they're suffering at all in some cases, so they might be. We can't be sure because we cannot talk to them. We're on. Wish there was a better candidate for governor in West Virginia. Winsome Sears back to DeSantis. Didn't endorse President Trump and really isn't America first. Glenn Youngkin is term limited. Oh, yeah, that's right. In some states, you sort of have to bounce back and forth between positions, or you can only serve a number of terms, and stuff like that, yeah. I didn't know that Youngkin was term limited. No, Jack Krauser, I disagree. Slayer is awesome. Megadeth is listenable. By the way, Dark Brandon, I have not been convicted of a felony. I have been convicted of a misdemeanor. JW, yes, Motorhead is good. Absolutely. Richard Vernontow sticks if you ever put ketchup on a slice of pizza. Yes, many times. It's actually delicious. If the pizza is a day old, you simply reheat it, and then you curl it up and dip it in the fucking ketchup. I mean, it's got tomato sauce on it already, so what's the difference? Rupert Miller, you're gonna make me end the live stream early. Ranch does not go on pizza. We're gonna end up having a verbal fight over this. My uncle, for example, he puts ranch on virtually everything. Dips his pizza in it, puts it in his fucking pasta. Ranch is only good for a few things. It's good in a salad, depending on the composition of the salad. And it's good, to dip, vegetables in and shit, like, sticks of celery and carrots and shit like that. Otherwise, it's useless. I am not a fan of ranch dressing. And generally, when I make a salad, I usually mix up a vinaigrette, and I do it myself. You take oil and the vinegar, add lemon juice. You can substitute lime juice if you want, but flavor profile is a little bit different. And then, you put in herbs and, well, a little bit of salt and sugar, but herbs commensurate with what the composition of the salad is. You have to refine it according to what you're putting it on. That's what I've found, at least. Honestly, if I'm eating celery, though, I won't dip it in ranch. I'll slather it in peanut butter. I wonder if any of you have done that. Jack Krauser, do you like Burzum? Absolutely, yes. Do you still talk to Varg? He got kicked off YouTube for bullshit. Yeah, I saw that. It was bullshit. It was bullshit. I don't really talk to him, but I like the dude. I don't agree with everything that he says, but he lives a good lifestyle, seems to be a good father, and definitely makes good music, so, you know. Angela Sky, why are we talking about 30 plus old bands? How long have we been in this cultural sink? Why isn't there much art from the last 15 years that's any good? Well, MGMT, I think, made Little Dark Age less than a decade ago, actually. We've actually got a revival of good music, believe it or not. You just have to branch out and find it. Depends on the kind of music you're into. Please send no more super chats, by the way. I'm going to go offline in a minute. It's the 4th of July. I want to eat like Franks and beans and shit like that. And Asti, cheese comment came from Hunter in an interview where he said he was picking crack out of the carpet. To one point, he believes it was Parmesan cheese. Oh, so it was actually crack, but he was too high to realize that it was actually crack he was picking out of the carpet. That doesn't surprise me, honestly. You know, if you're Biden's child, you're going to end up fucked up in some way mentally, so. Yeah, Twisted Jack. No. I mean peanut butter on celery. I don't mean peanut butter on pizza. I would try it. You know, you wouldn't even have to pay me to try it because it sounds like it will, at the very least, unlike candy corn, it would be palatable. But I don't think that I'm going to bother. Bizarre food challenges, stick, sex, and hammer mode. Eventually, 10 years from now, my channel has devolved into me just eating random weird shit and then puking up everywhere. This could happen, by the way. I did puke up after I had the candy corn stuff. Ugh, that was a difficult day. I managed to keep it down long enough to be presentable. It didn't stay down much longer than that. Let's put it that way. And I tend to have a cast iron stomach. Like, I did the one chip challenge. I didn't puke up with that. I mean, you had an interesting urination afterwards, but other than that, no problems. Guzzle a little bit of milk, stomach settles, you know, no harm, no foul. That being said, there are some things that I simply can't take. I'm not putting, you know, peanut butter on pizza unless I'm paid to do so, I suppose. Although it doesn't sound terrible. You know, you think of peanut sauce, that's good. And it kind of goes with tomatoey, cheesy stuff anyway. And so you could think of it kind of as like a weird Indian dish when you think about it. It could work. You'd probably have to liquefy the peanut butter with heat beforehand, I suppose. I don't know. Maybe I'll try it, maybe I won't. But candy corn, never again. Not for any price. I don't care if you donate $100 to me. I ain't eating candy corn, so don't waste your time. Anyways, I'm going to go offline now. And, of course, have a happy 4th of July. We sort of got lost in the weeds there with regards to the bants, but that's how a bant stream is supposed to work. Go enjoy your 4th of July. Have your hot dogs, hamburgers, whatever you happen to be eating today. I'm sure that most people will be eating a voluminous amount. Get a good garden salad in there and make a nice vinaigrette according to my specifications. Trust me, it will be yummy. Oh, we got one more. Dutch West Films. Just posted a heavy metal music video of the national anthem on my channel. More to follow. Excellent. So yeah, before we all get absolutely filled with food and then drop dirty bombs in our toilets, I will go offline. That's about all. Peace